Hi, I'm Billy Keels, the host of the Going Long podcast. Every week, I'm going to be here interviewing the absolute best in the business as it relates to real asset investing, as well as real Main Street investors. We're going to be having conversations where you can listen in, and that's going to help you to continue on your path to education so that you feel much more comfortable as well as confident in investing long distance. So make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you're liking it as well, because that way you can get every single episode as soon as it comes out. And by the way, don't forget to leave today's episode a 5-star review. Let's go ahead and listen to today's conversation. Welcome to the Going Long podcast. We're here once again to help educate you so that you feel confident to invest beyond your backyard. I'm your host, Billy Keels. And if you've ever wanted to know how medical professionals can actually go out and make a social impact through real estate investing, then this is a very, very important conversation that you're going to want to listen to all the way to the very end. And the reason for that is because today on the show, we have a physician, a best-selling author, an experienced real estate investor and syndicator, as well as the host of the Making a Difference Radio, the founder of Narwhal Investment Group, Dr. Felecia Froe. Dr. Froe, Felecia, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Billy. Wow, I sound like I've done a lot of stuff. I wonder why I feel so tired sometimes.
Well, you're just always on the go. You're busy.
It is, yeah. Doesn't seem like it. I don't know, maybe it's for you this way too, that you just do your day and then you're dead tired. You're like, what the heck happened? And then somebody talks about you and you're like, oh, I got a lot going on.
That's why. Now I get it. Now I remember. There you go. Exactly. Well, look, Felecia, I'm looking forward to getting into today's conversation. I know that all of our Going Long audience is also really looking forward to today's conversation. We like to start out every show with the same 2 questions. So if you're ready for that, and then afterwards we'll get into a little bit more about you. Number 1.
Got it. Yep.
Where in the world are you today? What city are you in?
I am actually in Tracy, California, which is about 60 miles southwest of Sacramento and 60 miles southeast of San Francisco.
All right.
In the valley of Northern California. It's not the most northern, but that gives people an idea where that is.
Tracy, California. Awesome.
Yep.
So also, Felecia, what is the most positive thing that's happened to you in the last 24 hours?
I'm going to say that despite social distancing and staying home, I went to my friend's house and we actually, with my friend, her husband, and her 5-year-old daughter, played Monopoly. And we kind of made up our own rules this time, and it made it a lot more a faster game. But watching the 5-year-old count back money, do the math of things, buy things, was really exciting for me.
I love that 5-year-old actually understanding the numbers concept.
Yep.
I think that's fantastic. Actually, I was helping my son, and we talk about the concept that math equals money. And so when kids start to realize that, it is something that's awesome. So thanks for sharing that with us as well. So it gets us started out and giving back already to others. So before we jump in, I guess, Felecia, help us to get to know a little bit more about you. Give us your backstory.
Well, as you said, I'm a physician. I'm a urologist, which is, look it up. We do surgery and also some general medical care regarding the urinary tract. So I'll leave it at that. I've been a urologist, finished my residency in 93. And shortly after finishing, I was in practice for the first year or 2, and I realized this wasn't going to be the last thing I ever did as far as my career. Something was still missing. And it took about, 6 years to meet some women who were doing some things, building their own businesses, doing some real estate investing. One of those women introduced me to the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I read, which really was the game changer for me as far as the beginning of me learning about money and how money kind of works. So that was in like 2004 or so. I bought my first rental property shortly thereafter, then ramped up really fast to 18 in 2 years. That was all right before 2008, everybody. Everything was easy to get. And then 2008 happened and we learned quite a few lessons. So after, we can talk about that later too, Billy, if you want. After that, came back realizing that that wasn't a real estate problem. That was a Felecia problem. So I made a couple changes in my life and got right on back into real estate investing with single family houses. Then, as just like you, Billy, when you're doing these things, you're learning more and more and more, and you can't do it by yourself. It's a group activity, really. You get a team. And so I was looking for those people and found a group of people who actually were teaching this thing called syndication. I didn't know anything about this. So went to that conference, actually joined their inner circle and started syndicating about 4 years ago. And the thing I like about syndication is actually one of the things I like about medicine is you get to meet a lot of people and you can help a lot of people. Medicine, you help them one way. With syndication, I help people manage and do better with their money than they have been, in my opinion, anyway.
So that's fantastic. So from the 2004 and having that Rich Dad Poor Dad actually make an impact on you, and then going from in 2 years, actually 18 doors, pretty phenomenal. And then you realized one of the things I love you just said is that it wasn't a real estate problem, it was a Felecia problem. And
Correct.
So just being able to take that introspective type of approach, I think is one of the things that continues to make you successful. And yes, you and I had a chance to actually meet at one of those real estate guys events, which is one of the things we've been able to know one another a lot more since then. So,
yeah.
And so you talked about that. I'd really love for you to talk a little bit more about that, because as a physician, there are a lot of similarities between the way that you can help an individual, and then there's also very similar ways that you can do that in real estate. Now, you've started to talk a little bit about that, but help us understand maybe what are some of the other similarities that a physician can find also in the real estate realm?
Yeah, that's it took me a while to get there. You can imagine, or maybe you can, all physicians listening to this will understand that when you start talking about doing something other than medicine, people really start to look at you like, what are you talking about? This is you, this is your life, it's your identity. And for a lot of physicians, it is. For a lot of us, it's not. So I really did start looking at medicine and see how it translates into something else. So in medicine, you go in, you have a patient that comes into the office, you sit and talk to them and understand what their problem is, when their problem started, what makes it better, what makes it worse. You give them a diagnosis, and then you talk them through what can make them better. In medicine, however, people are more looking at you to fix their problem, as opposed to them being a partner in fixing that problem. In real estate investing and syndication, I meet people just like in medicine. I don't call them a patient, a client, a friend. I hope most of them become friends. We talk through their financial situation, what their goal is in their financial situation. What are you trying to do? What have you done so far? What makes you happy? What irritates you about what you're doing? And then we look and see what's out there. I may have something that works for you. I know a whole bunch of people that are doing a lot of different things that may be able to help you get where you're trying to go. And it's all about that relationship, both in medicine and in real estate syndication. Getting to know who you're working with is the key to the whole thing. I like syndication better because I have much more time to spend with people than in medicine. Medicine's a very prescribed and prescriptive amount of time. I got 15 minutes to spend with you. I got to get everything I can get out of you in 15 minutes. In real estate investing and syndication, we got the rest of our lives to get to know each other and figure things out.
I think that's another great perspective, really thinking about the long term. It's about building relationship and understanding that the process. I think this is fundamental, because a lot of the same training that you went through to become a physician is really about asking the questions, understanding, and then being able to prescribe the right the right medication, for lack of a better analogy, I guess. And it's very similar in real estate. And so that, I think that's that's just phenomenal to be able to point that out.
Yeah.
And so one of the other things you said about being a doctor, right? So most people think that's the pinnacle. Like
Mhm.
people study for years and years and go through practice and all these types of things to be able to get to that point. It's like one of the most respected professions that are out there. Like, why in the world, like, what could you want beyond being a medical professional? Like, why go
I
anywhere
think
else?
because you help people in a particular way in medicine, and it well, medicine has become such a industry that it's in the United States anyway, with insurance, private insurance. Um, well, the thing about medicine that I didn't realize when I first started was how much of a business it is. And the business of medicine makes it very difficult to form relationships with people that come into your office. So you have to make money. Medicine makes it difficult for you to do that and cover things. It's very interesting. We could talk about that at another time. It's a whole nother conversation, Billy. But my developing the relationships I discovered was a thing about medicine that I like the best. And with medicine becoming the business for me, it didn't let me do that. So it was very much a dissatisfaction in medicine for me. I'm still practicing. I practice part-time now. But realizing that I do practice a little bit differently. And the real estate feeds me that chance to actually build a relationship with somebody and help them work through their options. That's the thing that medicine doesn't allow me, is that I don't want to tell you what to do. I want to give you your options, and then you and I can work through those options and figure out which one is the best for you. So
Love
that's
that.
real estate investing gives me that. I have the time to talk to you about what your options are. If you invested in this, this would happen. If you invested in this possibly could happen, which, we walk through your life and figure out which one of those things might be best for you.
Okay, so perfect. So once again, going back to really listening, understanding, and then ultimately being able to prescribe and what is the best for the person that you're building the relationship with.
Correct.
And so I know that there are a couple of different things that really help to that you're passionate about. And one of those things that we talked about, or I talked about in the very beginning, was social impact investing. I mean, really help us understand, Felecia, what is that all about? And what's the driver for you?
Okay. So social impact investing it's not new. The word that, we make a name for something, but people have invested to make a difference for a long time. And often the investments have been more, not investments, but donations or charitable givings. And social capitalism has come a long way because we realize that many of the things in the world are not going to get fixed just by governments and charities. So entrepreneurs come along and figure out how to make this thing better. And when you can make something better and make money, improve somebody else's bottom line, to me, that's a win-win. So social impact investment makes a difference in the place you're investing and gives you a return on your investment.
Okay. Perfect. In the way that you are actually going about doing that, what does that look like today for you?
So I've done a couple of different things. It took me, just so you know, it took me a while to get to that's what drives me in real estate. I've done single family houses, I've done multifamily, done apartments, and all, that's good. You get a financial return. It was not exciting to me. When I found residential assisted living and food access, feeding people, making sure people are eating well, with health with how you eat being the basis of your health, those things really have gotten me excited. It makes me get up every morning to work harder to get the project going, to raise the money for it. My first one was the residential assisted living home that we have in Kansas City, Missouri. That's for people that don't know, assisted living, most people know that. Usually there's a large building, a large apartment looking complex where people may live and elderly live and need help with their activities of daily living or ADLs. So somebody's there to help them with that. What we've done is taken that model and scaled it down to a home. So we have a 12-bed house. So it's very close knit. It's a community actually, and you're cared for like you're actually at home. So that's our residential assisted living. And that model just makes more sense to me. I wouldn't want my mom to be in a place where she had to walk like a dorm to get to the cafeteria and that kind of thing. Now you get out of your bed and you go to the kitchen to eat, and you have people there who know who you are. And you have we have a 6-to-1 ratio of caregivers to residents, compared to at those facilities, there may be a 20-to-1. So one caregiver taking care of 20 people. And it's just a much better, to me, for elderly. So you have the community of a small knit community of other elderly people that you're living with people that know who you are and can help you get through your day with your normal activities. That was actually my first impact investment. We raised $350,000 for that one. That was pretty exciting. The one I'm working on right now is food access, and it's really big. I didn't understand how many people didn't have good food to eat.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you if you could help us understand, because I don't think a lot of us really understand when you say food access and thinking of that in terms of investing. I mean, what does that look like?
And how does that pertain to real estate? It's an interesting thing. So what we're doing is building grocery stores in food deserts. A food desert is an area in a town that has where people do not have access to a grocery store or fresh food. In this particular area, we're in Tulsa, Oklahoma. In the area that we're in, we're actually building 3 grocery stores where within like 3 miles of each grocery store, there's no fresh produce, there's no real grocery store. There's dollar stores, there's Quick Trip, which are in the United States are, I don't know what you have in Spain that would be like that. Some fast, like a gas station that sells food, that kind of thing. Do you guys have that? Do you have that in Europe?
Yes, we do. So like most of the gas stations they now have a whole retail section and things like that. So it's very similar.
Okay, so that would be where many people in this town were buying their groceries. So it's their processed food. You might have a banana that's been there for 3 years, but there's not going to be anything really fresh. And that is widespread across the United States, widespread across the world. In addition, in the United States, most of our produce is grown in California, Arizona, Texas, and some in Florida. 85% of the leafy greens comes from California. So the place where we are is Oklahoma, which is a 3-day drive from California to Oklahoma. So if you have to pick produce too early to get it to Oklahoma so that it's not spoiled. There's still spoilage, but when you pick it too early, it's not peak nutrition. When you drive it for 3 days, it loses nutrition. So bottom line is, the access to good, healthy food in the middle of the country is not good. So we've got food from California, we've got food from South America, Central America coming up. We're trying to change that. So the real estate component of this is we're doing hydroponic or indoor controlled agriculture, building greenhouses, buying old warehouses, and putting food grow systems in them. It improves availability, number one. It improves nutrition of the food that you get. There's the real estate component. We talked about that. We have commercial contracts. So it's not just for our grocery stores that we're growing for. We're also growing for a food wholesaler with contracts with big retailers like Target and Walmart. Those are worldwide. So I talked a lot, I know. Threw a lot at you.
But that really helps us to understand basically what is food access. And when I see another, it's a trend, right? Because you're recognizing that there was an issue being able to get high quality food to a certain area within the United States. And so this is a way that you are once again building a relationship, solving a problem, and the foundation of this ability to solve the problem is through real estate. Right. And so I think that is something that's really helpful. And you've given us even a picture of what the supply chain looks like with food access. So and it makes me think of 2 things. So you talked about in the very beginning of the conversation that you are in Tracy, California. You then said that your residential assisted living facility was in the state of Missouri. And now you're
Right.
talking about Oklahoma. So
Uh-huh.
what has been, right, the whole theme here is going beyond your backyard. And you're very
Mhm.
clearly with your team are doing that. I guess more
Yeah.
than anything else, if you're in California, what's been the motivator for you to really take that, make that decision to go beyond your backyard and look to invest outside of California?
Well, that's a great question, Billy. Thanks for asking. I don't. California is a very regulated state. There's a lot of high taxes. It's difficult to do business here, in my opinion. And not just my opinion, in a lot of people's opinion, it's difficult to do business here. Um, I'm from the Midwest, so it wasn't a big stretch for me to work in. My family's actually in Kansas City, Missouri. So that I know the area. So it wasn't a big stretch for me. But we do have investors from different places. California investors, you just have to spend quite a bit of time getting them to understand what's in Oklahoma, just like East Coast people. See, everybody seems to know their own backyard and not know there's a whole big world out there that you can make a difference in. That's the bottom line. So we are working with people even from India, and it's a matter of understanding that eating is not a local thing. Everybody eats, and everybody, once you can explain to them this whole food situation, can understand that. And then once you can say, oh, that makes sense, and you trust the person who you are talking with, that's the biggest thing. Enough conversation to trust who you are working with. I've lost my train of thought on that, Billy. Bottom line is, when you can see an opportunity wherever it is, learn about it, understand who's doing the job, who's working for you there, and then to me, it's not a big leap to put your money there.
Yeah, and so it goes back to, once again, I'm just going to say this again because it's really important that when we talk about going long, it is really about the relationships that you're building. It's about understanding what you would potentially look to invest in. It's about learning about new types of areas that you didn't think about today. And we're here once again so that we want to continue to educate the marketplace so that they do feel comfortable in being able to go beyond your backyard. And what you're doing, Felecia, is a fantastic example and demonstration of how an individual can begin to build teams and begin to build a network to go out and do that. And whether that person is in California, in India, in Spain, you're demonstrating that this is something that is very real. And so having the fear to go beyond your backyard in terms of investing is something that most of the time is really a mindset thing. And you are helping us to understand that this is something that can be done and is done every single day. So
Every day. One of our mentors says, live where you want to live and invest where the money makes sense.
that's it.
It has to make sense. And the number one thing to do is build your team. And as an investor, your team are the people who are working there to help you get your investment. You don't have to be the one thinking about who's going to harvest the plants, who's going to run the grocery store. That's not what you need. You have to understand who is there to make sure your money is as safe as it can be.
Yep. That's it. That's it. So listen, on that note, and I know there's so many other things that I would like to be able to ask you to come back because we not have enough time today. I know that there are also a lot of that you take a lot of initiative and also continuing to go out and help women become also more informed and take real control of their investing destiny. And I'd
Mhm.
love to have you back on to be able to talk more about that in the future. But for today, and I never
Yeah.
asked the question, but we always have our final three questions. And as long as you're ready, I would like to ask you those three questions, but you need to let me know that you're ready.
I'm ready, Billy. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. The first question is, what is your favorite European city, either that you visited or is still on your bucket list?
So the favorite city that I've visited so far is, I'm going to have to, like, it's going to sound like a kiss up, but it's Barcelona. I didn't spend a lot of time there. I was there for, I don't know, a day and a half, I think. And it was on my birthday. I really enjoyed it quite a bit and want to come back to spend a little bit more time. On my bucket list, I'm going to give you two. My bucket list is Italy. There's cities in Italy. I've never been to Italy. I got to see Venice and the canals and all those kind of things before they go away. So that's definitely on my bucket list.
All right, awesome. So we'll keep that. But number one, we heard was Barcelona. So
Barcelona.
we'd love to see you here in Barcelona. So let us know when you head over this way. And yes, I have love for lots of cities in Italy. I used to live there myself. So awesome. So second question is, Felecia, you've paid full price for to learn a number of lessons, i.e. you've made a lot of mistakes. You wouldn't be as successful as you were if you hadn't. And so really want to understand, of the lessons that you paid 100% for, what one lesson would you want to pay forward to somebody else who is now looking to invest beyond their backyard so that they don't have to pay full price?
It's a lesson I'm actually still learning, and that's about building your team and the partners that you work with. So it's really important. And I'm finally getting this thing that people are telling me. It's you date for a long time before you marry somebody. And that's the same thing with building your partnerships. Who you go into business with, date them for a long time before you ultimately, put the ring on the finger and walk down the aisle and make it the full-on contract. You can work with people in a close dating relationship for a long time before you have to actually do the whole thing. Yeah. So it's building the right team. It's really understanding who you're working with is the biggest thing.
Okay, perfect. So make sure you're matching with the right team. I'm sure you have some tips that you can talk to us about how you do that effectively, but going back to hearing about the team. Great. And so we said earlier that you are a best-selling author. So we're going to make sure that we include your book in the show notes today, but want to also understand, what book would you recommend to someone that you've read yourself that can make an impact in terms of their success as a real estate investor?
So, Billy, I read a lot of books and you read a lot. We read a lot. I'm going to say a book that I'm reading right now is actually becoming one of my favorite books. It's very easy to read. It's called Blue Collar Fishing. And it's about keeping going. This guy, the guy who wrote the book, he has a backstory, but bottom line, his business is giving people amazing experiences. And he never says no. Whatever somebody wants to do something, he figures out how to make it happen and just goes at it until it can happen. From, getting a regular person like you and me on stage singing with Journey to, race car, NASCAR, whatever. I don't even know what that is, but just the book is amazing. So just getting your mind right about accomplishing whatever it is you really want to do.
Okay, awesome. So we've got that. Thank you. Blue Fishing. So we'll also include that in the show notes as well. And so listen, Felecia, we've learned so much from you getting started in the state of Missouri, going through learning, becoming a physician, and also realizing that there are a lot of similarities between being a physician and a successful real estate entrepreneur. That little purple book that was put in your hands in 2004. And then since then, being able to go well beyond your backyard and investing, really focusing on making a social impact. We've seen what you're doing in the residential assisted living. We also see what you're doing in the food access and using real estate as a base. And so all of these things that you've shared with us, I am sure that there are so many people that are wondering, how in the world can I get in touch with Dr. Felecia Froe? And I need you to help them to get in touch with you. So what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Awesome. And I'm sure Billy's going to have some show us, but go into my website, narwalinvestmentsgroup.com, NARWHAL investmentgroup.com. You can go on there, put in your email, set up a telephone call. We have a conversation. If you want to go more direct, email me at Felecia, FELECIA @narwalinvestmentgroup.com. I'll send you out a calendar link. We'll set up an appointment and have a conversation. If you want to get my ebook, Building Resilient Wealth, go to moneywithmission.com and it'll take you right there.
Perfect.
And we're on Facebook, Felecia Froe MD, Facebook, Twitter, all those things. So Felecia Froe MD is how you get me on all of those.
Fantastic. And we're going to make it really easy for everybody because we're going to include all of your contact details in the show notes. So, Felecia, it's been great conversation. Really looking forward to you actually coming back and sharing some more with us in the near future. And for everyone that is watching, that's listening, we want to continue to build our community. So go out and go ahead and share this with at least 2 of your friends so we can have more like-minded people that are together. And once again, my name is Billy Keels. I'm looking forward to you joining us for our very next conversation and wishing that you go out and make it a very great day. Thanks a lot. Wow. Don't you love hearing from top-notch experts in the field? You know, when I was getting started, I really wish that I would have had access to such experts. And even more, I wish they would have given me like a really simple list of things to follow so that I could have gotten to my goals much faster and been much happier even sooner. So that's why I've created for you the 7 things that you should avoid in order to be successful in long distance investing. And you can pick that up really easily by going to billykeels.com/7 things to avoid. And also, if you liked today's episode, don't forget to leave a 5-star review. I'm looking forward to seeing you on our very next episode, so go out and make it a great day.